Namaste and welcome, beloved mighty companions.
Namaste y bienvenidos, amados, poderosos compañeros.
Oh, so much gratitude for the brothers' devotion. So many of you are so devoted.
Mucha gratitud por estos hermanos tan devotos, muchos los cuales son muy devotos.
So much love in this.
Hay mucho amor en esto.
So is there an echo? We're gonna start off with a little. I feel like there's some kind of echo going.
Parece que hay un eco.
Okay, we're going to start off with something a little different tonight, actually.
Vamos a comenzar con algo totalmente diferente esta noche.
We were walking in this little town, San Juan, a couple of years ago, and right next to a tortilla store.
Bueno, nosotros estamos caminando un par de años atrás en este pueblo, San Juan Cosalas, cerca de un sitio de tortillas.
And right next to we had a very interesting little encounter, which we're going to share with you.
Y muy cerca de este lugar tuvimos un encuentro y el cual voy a compartir con ustedes. I cannot hear you, okay?
What a beautiful reminder.
Qué hermoso recuerdo.
Christmas is every day.
Que la Navidad es todos los días.
Yes. That's what we're going for.
Por eso es por lo que vamos.
The celebration of God within each of us.
La celebración de Dios en cada uno de nosotros.
And really, what could be a better topic than mind wandering?
Y que otro tema podría haber que el tema de la divagación mental.
The decision to mind wander.
La decisión de divagar mentalmente.
In order to blind ourselves from the truth that's ever present.
Para cegarnos de la verdad que está siempre presente.
And Jesus is very clear on this point in A Course in Miracles.
Y Jesús es muy claro en este punto en Un Curso de Milagros.
We have chosen the experience of mind wandering.
Hemos elegido la experiencia de la divagación mental.
And we can unchoose it.
Pero podemos elegir de nuevo.
We have the power to cease to choose to send out the asteroid belt of delusion.
Tenemos el poder de dejar de elegir este cinturón de asteroides de la ilusión.
And it always comes back. Every single one of these things he's teaching.
Y siempre volvemos a lo mismo, cada una de estas cosas que Él nos enseña.
Choose again. Do not choose to delude yourself.
Elige de nuevo, no elijas seguir engañándote a ti mismo.
Why, in the beginning of A Course in Miracles, do we take one lesson, do one line, and forget it for 3 days?
¿Por qué tomamos la primera lección o la primera parte de la lección y a los 3 días ya lo hemos olvidado?
The habit of mind wandering.
Por el hábito de la divagación mental.
The decision that dreaming is of greater value than the memory of God.
La decisión de que soñar es una gran idea y olvidarnos del recuerdo de Dios.
And this is what we need Jesus for.
Y por esto es por lo que necesitamos a Jesús.
It's so fascinating in the play of consciousness how much rage comes up about talking to Jesus.
Es fascinante ver toda la rabia que surge de la conciencia de hablar con Jesús.
I can't imagine, there's just no way out of hell without Jesus. And this whole play that we're celebrating Jesus more than God, or all these ideas that are insane.
No podemos imaginarnos la manera de salir del infierno sin Él. Todo lo que hacemos es esta celebración de que Jesús es más poderoso que Dios. Todas estas ideas que son una locura.
One of the most powerful training techniques in coaching
Una de las mejores técnicas de entrenamiento en coaching,
in consciousness,
en la conciencia,
is to find someone who's done what you want to do and do what they did.
es encontrar a alguien que haya hecho lo que tú quieres hacer y hacerlo.
Why wouldn't we take the most powerful symbol in consciousness of transcending consciousness and follow him?
¿Y por qué no tomar a quien ha trascendido la conciencia y seguirlo a él?
Because
Porque
if you keep your attention focused on Jesus, which is your highway to God,
Porque si tú mantienes enfocado en Jesús, que es el camino hacia Dios,
in your mind,
en tu mente,
game over for the ego.
el juego se acaba para el ego.
And that's what the rage and the anger is protecting against your own voice, which Jesus symbolizes.
Y eso es lo que la rabia y la ira están protegiendo, tu propia voz, porque eso es lo que Jesús simboliza.
The power within you to transcend delusion.
El poder dentro de ti de trascender el engaño.
Equal opportunity to transcend delusion.
Igual oportunidad de trascender la ilusión.
Will we say yes?
¿Diremos sí a esto?
Will we say no to mind wandering
¿Diremos no a la divagación mental?
and indulging in
Y a la tolerancia
delusion?
en la ilusión.
That's the only question really on the table. Do I want to be deluded or not?
Esa es la pregunta que está sobre la mesa. ¿Quiero ser engañado o no?
Do I want to see in honesty of God who I am?
Quiero ver realmente en la honestidad de Dios quién soy yo
And celebrate the God within?
y celebrar a Dios en nuestro interior.
Or do I want to hit the snooze button?
O, o voy a pulsar el botón de dormir.
And listen to Jesus' words here. They're so specific.
Y miren y escuchen las palabras de Jesús aquí. Él es muy específico.
Condoning miscreation.
La tolerancia con la creación falsa.
We have to be complicit. We have to agree with it to happen.
Nosotros tenemos que estar de acuerdo para que esto suceda.
I know I'm taking out my my drum for follow, follow, follow.
Y yo estoy tomando mi guía de seguirlo, seguirlo, seguirlo.
Thanks, David, for bringing up this topic. I said, what topic should we talk about this week?
Y gracias a David por traer este punto para compartir esta semana, porque le dije, ¿qué tema crees que debemos compartir?
What topic is going to rocket us up?
¿Qué tema nos va a llevar hacia el cielo?
And David says, well, what do you do about mind wandering? Right?
Y David me preguntó, ¿y tú qué haces con la divagación mental?
Because mind wandering is sleepy sleep.
Porque la divagación mental es dormir, dormir.
The desire to ignore God.
El deseo de dormir e ignorar a Dios.
Every time we don't follow, we're condoning mind wandering. We're going, I would rather have my mind wander than wake up.
Cada vez que permitimos la divagación mental, estoy diciendo, prefiero la divagación mental que despertar.
That's all following is for. It's just wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up.
Para eso es que debemos seguirlo, porque es despierta, despierta, despierta.
All Jesus can point out to you is here's where you're sleeping, here's where you're sleeping, here's where you're sleeping, there's where you're sleeping.
Por eso, lo que Jesús nos puede apuntar es mira dónde estás durmiendo, mira dónde estás durmiendo, mira dónde estás durmiendo.
Has anyone ever gone into a state of rage when somebody comes and wakes you up from a nap?
¿Ustedes han tenido un estado de rabia cuando alguien viene y los despierta cuando ustedes están en una siesta?
Every time the spirit wants to come wake up, rage.
Y sí, cada vez que el espíritu viene y te dice despierta, rabia.
The more you don't want to wake up, the more rage you're going to feel.
Entre más tú no quieras despertar, más rabia vas a tener.
Because rage is the way it distracts.
Porque la rabia es la forma como te distrae.
See if I can find that trebuchet. I don't know if I can find the trebuchet. Let's see.
Voy a ver si encuentro el trebuchet.
A trebuchet, is kind of in like the Middle Ages. It was this thing that would just hurl a big flaming ball out. It would just fling it like a slingshot.
Este era una herramienta en la Edad Media que lanzaba unas bolas de fuego.
Oh, here, is that it? No. Don't seem to have the trebuchet clued up. But there's nothing consciousness likes better than to hurl and project out.
Y eso no lo encuentro, pero realmente eso es lo que más le gusta al ego, tirar las cosas afuera y proyectarlas, lanzarlas.
So this isn't as fun as a trebuchet, but it's the same idea.
Esto no es tan divertido como la catapulta, pero
If
sí
I
tiene
can
la misma idea.
if I can just toss this thing, this rage out and say it's because of something out there, I am saved.
Si yo lanzo esta rabia allá afuera, alguien me está generando esto, entonces yo voy a estar a salvo.
And part of that is the mind wandering is salvation. Ask him. Let's ask him.
Y creemos que la divagación mental es salvación. Preguntemos,
Jesus, do I believe somewhere in my subconscious mind
Jesús, en alguna parte de mi mente subconsciente yo creo
that mind wandering is salvation? This is
que la
deep.
divagación mental es salvación. Esto es profundo.
When you get really honesty of God and you can hear the yes and no's on the inside, you hit it. You hit the pay dirt.
Sí, cuando tú tienes la honestidad de Dios, tú puedes obtener el sí y el no de Dios, de Jesús.
He is telling us in A Course in Miracles that we are complicit with mind wandering. We are allowing that experience.
Y Jesús nos dice en el curso Milagro que nosotros estamos siendo complacientes con la divagación mental, que la estamos permitiendo.
Why?
¿Por qué?
Because it's flipped in the mind. We believe heaven is in avoiding God.
Sí, porque tenemos volteado esto en la mente. Creemos que evitar a Dios es el cielo,
Heaven is in mind wandering.
que el cielo está en la divagación mental,
Heaven is in miscreation, which are all these thoughts and feelings and emotions and a world to obscure inner vision.
que el cielo está en los sentimientos, emociones y todo lo que hemos hecho para oscurecer la visión interior.
Because it's of greater value, hell of miscreation is of greater value than recognition of inner light.
Porque el infierno es, sorry, I lost the idea. Could you repeat it?
Hell is of greater value than infinite happiness.
Que el infierno es de mayor valor que la infinita felicidad.
Of miscreation of the world and thoughts and ideas of a greater value.
Que la creación de los pensamientos y falsas ideas tiene mayor valor.
He says directly in A Course that we experience what we value.
Y él dice claramente en el curso que nosotros experimentamos lo que valoramos.
So, how does he help us out to change our mind about what we value?
Entonces, ¿cómo él nos puede ayudar a cambiar esto en nuestra mente de lo que nosotros estamos valorando?
This is why I can't celebrate enough the power and the value of talking to Jesus.
Y aquí es donde
Okay?
donde no puedo agradecer suficiente el poder de hablar con Jesús.
Who could be a better coach coaching us through this than the one who already did it?
¿Quién más que nos puede entrenar de la mejor manera que alguien que ya lo hizo?
It's so interesting how I managed to avoid seeing for about 10 years of A Course in Miracles the talk to Jesus part.
Yo no sé cómo evadí como por 10 años hablar con Jesús, la parte de hablar con Jesús.
9 years. But I
Bueno,
mean,
9 años.
I was talking to Jesus along the way, but the power of it, the directness of it, and seeing it permeates the entire Course in Miracles. How did I miss that?
Pero yo había había pasado o había ignorado esta parte de hablar con él como por 9 años.
And I can hardly even look at that book now without going, and here's another reason to follow Jesus.
Y fue como mirar el libro y decir, mira, aquí hay otra razón por la cual seguir a Jesús.
Because we like wandering around
Porque a nosotros nos gusta pasear y dar vueltas,
pretending like there's 1,000 different doors with 1,000 different keys.
Fingiendo que hay cientos de puertas con cientos de llaves,
Wandering aimlessly in our thoughts and feelings and emotions and interpretations.
divagando en nuestros pensamientos, sentimientos e interpretaciones.
And let's see. Here's Jesus.
Y
Look
miremos
at
aquí,
that.
aquí está Jesús. Miren
All
eso.
power of God. Look at that.
Todo el poder de Dios, miren eso.
It just, the fundamental shift in the experience of the Course alive within, when you start talking to Jesus, is phenomenal.
Cuando tú comienzas a hablar con Jesús, esto es fenomenal, porque es todo el poder del curso ahí,
Okay, for me.
para mí.
Okay, and I'm gonna say, when you say yes to the last unanswered question, I'm gonna say that.
Cuando tú dices sí a la última pregunta aún sin responder, tengo que decir esto.
Okay, when you partner with him,
Cuando tú trabajas en asociación con Él,
so he can then, at least from my experience, when I finally wasn't arguing with him, and I'd go, okay, show me Jesus.
entonces en esta asociación cuando yo le decía, Jesús, muéstrame.
And you have that conversation with him. Well, what about this, Jesus? What about this? And he's just giving it to you. It saves time. He says it's throughout the Course of Miracles. I don't know how I missed it.
Sí, y cuando tú trabajas con Él, Él te muestra todo lo que tienes que ver en el curso.
The words condoning miscreation, condoning it.
La palabra es, estamos condonando la creación falsa, tolerando la creación falsa.
That means loving it more than God.
Eso quiere amarla más que a Dios.
You are creation. We're creation. Celebrating 24/7.
Nosotros somos la creación de que se celebra 7 por 24.
No, I think I'll go do my little science project of a world and see how it goes.
No, mejor ven, yo voy a hacer mi proyecto de ciencias.
That was me.
Esa era yo.
You know, have a little recipe for the world and let me make that. No problem.
Y sí, ven, hago esta pequeña receta para el mundo. Y sí, no hay problema.
Infinite being go, look, I'm going to make a little recipe.
Y sí, es como, mira, voy a hacer esta receta.
But the pain is only aroused to bring to mind that a correction is necessary. It doesn't, you're going to hurt because you're not in awareness of God.
Pero el dolor llega a la conciencia y porque tú no eres consciente de Dios.
Here's, okay, yeah, let's just do this. So it just seems like not a problem not to follow everything. It just seems like not a problem.
Pareciera que no hay problema en que no lo sigamos 100%.
But if you're talking to Jesus, he's going to let you know that every time you don't follow,
pero si tú hablas con Jesús, Él te va a decir que cada vez que no lo sigues,
because following aligns you with infinite,
porque seguirlo te alinea con lo infinito.
And you're chopping off the ego, you're saying no to the ego, you're aligning, you're ceasing to condone miscreation when you follow.
Y cortas el ego y así dejas de continuar con la creación falsa.
I'm asking Jesus.
Yo le estoy preguntando a Jesús.
And it's like detonating an explosion against mind wandering. Ask him.
Es como una detonación, una explosión para la divagación mental.
And I see that now. I can see like when I follow, that's why the ego doesn't want to follow. It doesn't want those detonations of blasting out the mind wandering.
Sí, porque cuando nosotros no los seguimos. Sorry, Kay, I lost the idea. Could you repeat that?
That's why the ego doesn't want to follow.
Por eso es que el ego no quiere seguir.
It does not want these blasts on the inside that start just blowing up continents of ego ideas.
No quiere estas explosiones en la mente porque no quiere estas ideas.
So we're going to come back. We're going to go to ground zero here on miracles.
Entonces vamos a ir al punto cero de los milagros aquí.
Okay? Because if this is again why he's such a powerful coach.
Por eso es que él es un poderoso entrenador.
Because the world appears through our desire for it.
Porque el mundo aparece a través de nuestro deseo de de tenerlo.
Okay? And so it's denial. I desire and experience to deny God within me. That's the world.
Eso es el mundo, el deseo de negar a Dios dentro de nosotros.
And then Jesus will tell you how the world is restored to your awareness.
Y Jesús te va a mostrar cómo el mundo es restaurado dentro de tu conciencia.
Through the single pointed desire for God and his kingdom. That is why it is so important. Desire.
Por eso, cuando se tiene un solo deseo, el deseo de Dios y su reino, por eso es tan importante este deseo.
Checking to see if I can interact with this. So, if you look down at the base of the tree here,
si ustedes miran aquí la base del árbol,
the base of this is desire.
La base de esto es el deseo.
Okay, we'll go back to this other little diagram here for a moment.
Vamos a volver aquí a este diagrama por un momento.
So, hopefully you can see this because on mine it's kind of blocked, but at the top you can see all the mind wandering is up in the smoke. If you look at where smoke is for a fire, it's at the top, it's obscuring. It's smoke.
Si vemos en la parte superior está el humo, lo que está oscureciéndolo.
And it's flame and heat, and it's your sensory experience.
Y está el fuego y el calor, todas estas experiencias sensoriales.
And then it's like, oh, this is me, my emotions, they're real. What I feel is real.
Y sí, miren aquí mis emociones, lo que yo siento es real.
But you want to start peeling back. That's what Jesus is doing. He's peeling back and saying in A Course in Miracles, you believe.
Y entonces ahí es donde Jesús comienza a apelar esto y te dice, tú crees.
Okay, you believe. You just take one. There's 80 in the back summarized here.
Y tú crees, miremos aquí en la parte donde tenemos como 80 resumidas.
You believe perception has value.
Tú crees que la percepción tiene valor.
There's only 400 of these things in A Course in Miracles.
Solo hay 400 de estas cosas en un curso de milagros.
And we wonder, why can't I experience heaven?
Y nos preguntamos, ¿por qué yo no puedo experienciar el cielo?
But you got to go deeper. You have to see that, and that's what he showed me, right? Is that miracles occur at the level of desire. It's the fuel.
Pero él tiene que mostrarnos que los milagros ocurren al nivel de los deseos, porque son el combustible.
Okay? That's where the fuel is. The desires, the wanting.
Eso es lo que es el combustible, el deseo, el querer.
I made the decision in my mind to have an experience of separation.
tomé la decisión en mi mente de tener una experiencia de separación.
And then it became like crack cocaine, and then I'm living inside the experience of it, the thoughts, the feelings, the emotion.
Y luego fue como una experiencia de una cocaína, donde tienes pensamientos, sentimientos y emociones.
So if we go back to the tree,
Y si volvemos al árbol,
it's the habit of, if you look at the top where all the leaves of the tree, there's tons of leaves and trees. You get lost in the leaves, the stories.
sí, tú puedes perderte en las hojas. Todas las hojas son las hojas de las historias.
Okay, and over here, the conscious, in a conscious awareness, is your sensations and your perception, what you sense, and some of the thoughts that you're thinking. They'll come into awareness too.
Y entonces vienen las sensaciones y las percepciones y estos pensamientos que no vienen a la conciencia.
On the right side here, the emotions. It's like, this is real.
Y aquí en esta parte de las emociones esto es como esto es real.
And then every time you're going to get guidance, you're going to have emotions and all this stuff. And then we get lost in those and go, this is real. Instead of going, no, this is not real. I'm going to follow.
Sí, y creemos que estos son reales y vienen todas estas emociones y entonces no queremos seguir.
But we indulge in the sleepy of emotions and sensations and stories. And this is what happened to a me.
Y entonces nos dormimos en estas sensaciones, historias, y esto es lo que me está pasando a mí.
So groups of beliefs come together into story. And then that's why it's so important to speak what Jesus tells you to say. So you're not in the story, you're speaking out of wholeness.
Por eso es que es tan importante hablar con Jesús para no entrar en la historia, porque ahí estamos hablando desde la totalidad.
And then if you look the thoughts and these, but a thought is a thought. Green is green, but we attach a meaning. I give everything I see all the meaning it has for me. Boom.
Y los significados son le he dado a todo lo que veo el significado que tiene para mí. Entonces le damos este significado y es como un punto.
And suddenly, well, my green's not your green. That's
Y
not the green
decimos
I
mi
like.
verde y el verde mío no es el mismo verde tuyo.
Twitch.
Inmediatamente molestia.
Oh my God, so many arguments. So, but he's bringing you to the root. The root is the desire for the experience, and then that's the root. That's where miracles occur.
Y entonces nos lleva a la raíz, a la raíz. Ahí es donde ocurren los milagros.
It's a decision in the mind. I will no longer value all of the mind wandering and the stories and the everything that's going to point me away from recognition of happiness.
Es no valorar más esta divagación mental y todo lo que me saca de la suprema felicidad.
All this subconscious content that you want, with Jesus's help, he's going to put that laser on exactly what desire.
Todo este contenido subconsciente y Jesús te va a apuntar como un rayo láser a los deseos.
So if you've got hundreds of beliefs coming out of a single desire,
Si vienen cientos de creencias y de un solo deseo,
you can start out looking at beliefs. That's where I started.
y si tú puedes comenzar a trabajar las creencias como yo lo hice,
It's like, Jesus, I'm a coach. I know how to change beliefs.
y sí, yo decía, Jesús, yo soy una entrenadora y yo sé cómo cambiar las creencias.
Up into a point that's helpful, but when he started working with me, he started showing me how I was interfering with miracles.
Y sí, en ese punto fue importante y útil, pero luego él me mostraba que cómo yo estaba interfiriendo con los milagros.
A miracle is no longer placing value on a desire for an experience other than God.
Es no poner más valor en una experiencia de algo diferente a Dios.
It's accepting your divine power to say no to
Es
the
aceptar
miscreation.
tu poder de decir no.
It's saying, look, he's telling you, don't condone the leaves. Don't stay at the top of the tree where all the leaves are and tell a story about it. And here's all this stuff.
Él dice, no condones, no toleres estos hojas que simplemente ve que están en la parte superior del árbol.
Come with me. I'm going to show you those desires down there and how to hack it down at the root.
Y ven conmigo y yo te voy a mostrar las raíces de estos deseos para que los cortes.
So, how do you so you can make some inroads? You can see that in light circles. You can start to work the levels with Jesus down on a desire in the light circles.
Y sí, tú puedes comenzar a ver estos niveles en los círculos de luz.
But to take it all the way out, you've got to follow because that's like putting a blasting cap on it and just blowing it out.
Y sí, sí, tú puedes como avanzar en esto, pero hasta que no lo sigas completamente, tú no vas a lograr, digamos, profundizar.
And we've talked about this before. The ego likes control, the feeling of being in control.
Y como ya lo hemos dicho, el ego le gusta el control, le gusta esta sensación de control.
Which is the antithesis of Christ control.
Lo cual es la antítesis del control de Cristo.
So, and you can look at, I can feel it. I feel like I really value that sense of control. I think my heaven is in control.
Y sí, podemos ver en la sensación de control y creer que el control nos da el cielo.
And that's the cycle of anger. See, I feel out of control, and then I can get anger, and then I can try to get back in control. So it can keep the little loop, the little boucle going.
Es como querer mantener este bucle de estar en control y luego sentir que pierdes el control.
You can't blast it at the root until you give over to Christ's control.
Pero tú no puedes ir hasta la raíz de esto hasta que no le entregues el control a Cristo.
And the one who knows what Christ's control is Jesus.
Y el que sabe qué es el control de Cristo es Jesús.
So, to have a little fun with this, because you to Jesus now, if you more than probably, well, a lot of you have told me you're talking to him more than you ever have. Some of you, we've all heard him, it's not a big surprise.
Y sí, muchos de ustedes ya me han dicho que han estado hablando con Jesús y que están hablando con Jesús mucho más de lo que lo hacían antes. Y esto no es una gran sorpresa.
Most of the beings that come here know that something's been talking to them for a while.
Y algunos seres que han venido aquí saben que alguien les ha estado hablando por un tiempo.
But coming into partnership with him, that's a whole new world and experience within A Course in Miracles.
Pero estar en una asociación con él es una parte esencial del curso de milagros.
That is the direct experience of A Course in Miracles.
Esa es la experiencia directa del curso de milagros.
It's not talking about quotes.
No es hablar acerca de citas.
It's not explaining the quotes.
No es no explicar las citas.
It's not talking about how to forgive.
No es hablar acerca de cómo perdonar.
It's being coached specifically on the inside of how to get a miracle where you don't want one. That's
Es como es un entrenamiento donde te dice dónde te debes llevar a cabo un milagro donde tú no lo quieres.
And I've said many times I had no freaking idea how much I did not want miracles until he started coaching me directly.
Y realmente yo no tenía ni la menor idea de que era un milagro hasta que él comenzó a entrenarme. Eso ya lo he dicho antes.
And the mind has to get to the point where it no longer is willing to condone miscreation.
Y la mente tiene que llegar al punto donde no admite o no tolera la creación falsa.
And I'm asking him the only way it can do that, he can show you how much miscreation relishing there is.
Y él te muestra cuánto la creación falsa es disfrutada.
Is by following him.
La forma de hacerlo es a través de seguirlo.
Because following is look here. It's that precision. It's that this laser. Here's where to look in consciousness.
Sí, él es porque seguirlo es permitir que te muestre como un rayo láser. Mira aquí donde está el fuego de la conciencia.
Here's where you're making a decision against heaven, right here.
Mira aquí donde estás tomando una decisión en contra del cielo.
But as we've talked about many times, the ego goes, oh, he's going to make me do something.
Y sí, ya lo hemos hablado muchas veces. El ego dice, Jesús me va a hacer algo.
Your objection to following has nothing to do with what he's going to make you do.
Tu objeción con esto no tiene nada que ver con lo que él te va a hacer.
He doesn't make you do anything.
Él no te obliga a hacer nada.
God has no interest in making you do something.
Dios no tiene ningún interés en hacerte hacer algo.
We have come together and requested his help to cease to be delusional.
Nosotros hemos venido a él y le hemos solicitado que nos ayude a ver dónde nosotros estamos engañados.
So with his collaboration, he's going to show you. Following is being shown.
Con tu colaboración, él te va a mostrar. Seguirlo es permitir que él te muestre.
Following is priming your mind to have those miracle blasts come in.
Seguirlo es preparar tu mente para esas explosiones milagrosas.
Those time and space rearrangements, I can look back, now I can see it. It just blasts your mind. You get blasted.
Sí, y ahora lo puedo ver porque él organiza el tiempo y el espacio.
Because you're saying no to the ego, which opens your mind to remember who you are.
Es abrir tu mente para recordar quién eres.
So the ego's favorite thing is to make all kinds of noise. It's going to make a lot of noise and complaints and blah, 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 because it doesn't want to see the truth.
Y el ego va a hacer toda clase de ruidos porque él no quiere ver la verdad.
That's all it ever, when we don't follow, it's I don't want to see the truth.
Y cuando no nos lo seguimos, quiere decir, yo no quiero ver la verdad.
I do not want to partner with Jesus. Okay, call it the Holy Spirit if you want. Partner to see what is true. That is it.
Yo no quiero asociarme con Jesús o con el Espíritu Santo, llámalo como tú quieres. No quiero asociarme para ver la verdad.
It's a decision to say, I prefer to keep mind wandering.
Es la decisión de decir, yo prefiero mantener la divagación mental.
I prefer to condone miscreation.
Yo prefiero admitir o permitir la creación falsa.
Creación falsa. Jesus, do I just relish false miscreation?
Jesús, ¿realmente disfruto la creación falsa?
Do I love it more than God?
¿La amo más que a Dios?
See, when your mind is open enough to hear Him on that and be self honest, you're starting to really partner with Him.
Cuando tu mente está suficientemente abierta a escuchar esto, realmente ya estás asociado con Él.
And then see, it's so tricky. The ego is tricky. So,
Y, y luego ver que el ego es muy engañoso.
because you're talking about, the miscreation from the Son of God
Y porque comienzas a hablar de la creación falsa del Hijo de Dios.
to indulge in self delusion. So it makes it as complicated as possible.
Al pasar al tema del engaño de la creación, él lo hace lo más complicado posible.
And I'm going to hide it in some concept of time.
Y luego nos vamos a esconder o vamos a esconder esto en un concepto de tiempo.
Gracias. And it hides. It's so sneaky. How did that all happen? Sneaky.
Y esto es muy suspicaz, es muy suspicaz.
When you start, for me, I can just see the whole shift when I started hanging on to him with everything I had, knowing he had to be the one to help me get out.
Cuando yo me estaba tratando de aferrar a todo y él me tuvo que ayudar a salir de esto.
There's a humility in it, and you're laying out the welcome mat to get helped out of this hell.
Y tuvo que haber mucha humildad en esto y tenía que tuve que darle la bienvenida porque estaba muy
Because
apegada al infierno.
what it's so tricky because we can't, like he says, we've become so tolerant to pain, we can't even see how horrific what we're doing is.
Porque estamos tan asociados al dolor que no nos damos cuenta cuán horrorífico es esto.
And the play is like, I'm going to be like Gollum in Lord of the Rings, and I'm just going to hang on to that ring.
Y vamos a ser como el Gollum en El Señor de los Anillos que se aferraba a este anillo.
I'm going to hang on to that ring no matter what it costs me and call that heaven.
Y es aferrarme a este anillo y no, sin importar lo que esto me cueste y yo creo que eso es el cielo.
And then tell Jesus, oh, it's not a problem, Jesus. I don't have to follow you.
Y luego decirle a Jesús, no, esto no es un problema, Jesús, no te tengo que seguir.
I'm going to hang on to that ring into the fires of hell and say to Jesus, look, okay, I'm fine, Jesus.
Es aferrarme a este anillo e ir a los fuegos del infierno y decirle, no, mira Jesús, todo está bien.
We don't see how horrific. We're literally telling him this is a good deal right here.
Pero no nos damos cuenta lo horrorífico que es esto y estamos diciendo que esto es un buen negocio.
That's why it takes so much humility, because it's so much arrogance. And he tells us this, it's so much arrogance to, not to follow. It's just total and complete, utter arrogance, really.
Es mucha arrogancia no seguirlo, es total arrogancia no seguirlo.
This little thing where, I happen to have it here for the Light Brigade, but it's got this great little video of running to Jesus.
Sí, tenemos este pequeño video para la Brigada de la Luz. Es lanzarnos a ir a donde Jesús.
I don't know, this thing gets me every time I watch it.
Esto me toca cada vez que lo veo.
It just touches me every time I just look at this and go, I'm running to get that help.
Sí, esto me conmueve cada vez que lo veo porque es correr hacia el cielo.
But this whole Course in Miracles is a recovery program from running the other way.
Pero todo el programa, el Curso en Milagros es un programa de recuperación, de correr hacia el otro lado.
And all the concepts
y de todos los conceptos.
All the concepts I had them about Jesus. I'm Roman Catholic. I'm looking up with them every day in catechism with this big cross and this bloody figure up there.
Y sí, todos estos conceptos que tenemos de Jesús, porque yo fui criada como católica y estaba esta cruz.
You know, and as I told him directly, it's Jesus. I don't think I want to follow you because the crucifixion didn't look like it turned out so well.
Y yo le decía a Jesús, no creo que deba seguirte porque a ti parece que no te fue muy bien en la crucifixión.
And that's where we start, looking up. We miscreated the misinterpretation of the crucifixion.
Y sí, mirar la creación errada de la interpretación de la crucifixión,
So we can keep doing this.
porque así nos mantenemos siguiendo haciendo esto,
Over and over and over and over again.
una y otra vez.
And go, I know my way out.
Y decimos, no, yo sé el camino de salida.
We can't know our way out if we think that hell is heaven and heaven is hell. How are we going to get out?
No podemos saber el camino de salida si creemos que el cielo es el infierno y el infierno es el cielo. ¿Cómo vamos a salir?
But then to have him coach you directly on where you have heaven and hell upside down, how profound is that?
Pero tenerlo a él entrenándonos, mostrándonos dónde tenemos el cielo y el infierno invertidos, ¿qué tal
Direct,
eso?
direct experience of the course, Jesus coming in and saying, you think that hell is happiness.
Esa es una experiencia directa del curso. ¿Tú crees que el cielo, el infierno es felicidad?
You think not following me is your happiness.
¿Tú crees que no seguirme a mí es felicidad?
You want to get to that relationship with straight talking Jesus where he just gives it to you direct. You save a lot of time.
Y tú vas a tener esa relación con Jesús, una relación donde puedes hablar directamente, lo cual te va a ahorrar mucho tiempo.
Here's how to perform miracles.
Mira aquí dónde llevar a cabo los milagros. ¿Cómo llevar a cabo
Here's
los
what
milagros?
here's which miracles you need to perform.
Mira aquí los milagros que tienes que llevar a cabo.
And when he guides you, when you follow him, he's taking you, here's what miracles you need to perform. When you're following him, he's going, here's what miracles you need to perform.
Y cuando tú lo sigues, te dice, mira los milagros que tú tienes que llevar a cabo aquí.
Because it brings up every objection to divinity. When you're following, you have to look, you have to see, here's where I think heaven and hell, or where's heaven and hell are flipped in my mind.
Sí, porque ahí surgen todas las objeciones a la verdad y ahí él te muestra dónde está el cielo y el infierno invertidos.
In other words, here's where I'm condoning miscreation.
En otras palabras, es mira aquí donde estoy admitiendo o tolerando la creación falsa.
Jesus, am I willing to see that I can cease to choose miscreation? Am I willing to see my power for that?
Jesús, estoy dispuesto a ver el poder que tengo de dejar de tolerar la creación falsa.
You want to live forgiveness through his guidance inside you.
Tú vas a permitir que el perdón viva en ti a través de su guía.
To see the power, the abject power you have to change your mind about everything.
Para ver el poder que tú tienes de cambiar y ver todo de otra manera.
To let the 50 miracles principles detonate within you.
Para dejar que los 50 principios de los milagros detonen en ti.
The abject power of no order of difficulty of miracles.
El poder abyecto que tienes de ver que no hay orden en la dificultad de los milagros.
So how do you handle mind wandering?
Así que, ¿cómo puedes manejar la divagación mental?
This is one of the most important gifts of A Course in Miracles that is overlooked.
Este es uno de los regalos más importantes de Un Curso de Milagros que se pasa por alto.
You join with your brother to see what's true so Jesus can guide you to the miracle you need.
Es unirte con tu hermano para ver la verdad, para que Jesús te pueda decir cuáles son los milagros que se necesitan.
You catch yourself mind wandering and go, yay, now Jesus, help show me the desire that's generating the smoke.
Cuando te das cuenta que hay un deseo, simplemente le pides a Jesús que te muestre dónde está el humo
And the fire and the heat.
y el fuego y el calor.
You see, you open your mind for him to show you, and then you have to get really self-honest about, am I in guidance?
Y luego vas a tener que ser muy honesto y preguntarle, Jesús, ¿estoy en guía?
Because being out of guidance is a decision in the mind to keep miscreation, to keep the smoke going.
Porque no seguir la guía es mantener la creación falsa, es mantener ese humo.
You see, when the desires go, because the smoke comes out of the fuel of desire.
Porque cuando el humo surge de los deseos, entonces cuando este humo surge,
Okay, so the mind wandering is up in the smoke and in the story, and here's what, like that. It's living inside the story.
entonces el humo está en la historia, está viviendo en esta historia.
But he's telling you directly, don't condone miscreation.
Pero él te dice, no toleres la creación falsa.
It's profound when he's telling you not to condone that. And when he comes in and you hear him, look, you're the one putting the fuel on the fire.
Esto es muy poderoso cuando él te dice, tú estás poniendo el combustible en el fuego,
The desire, you still want this.
el deseo, tú aún quieres esto.
The only argument that's ever happened with Jesus is that we're saying, look, I don't want to see where I'm choosing to lay a fuel on the fire.
Sí, la pelea con Jesús es que no queremos ver que nosotros estamos poniendo el fuego, el combustible en el fuego.
It's all that. It's all wanting to live in the smoke.
Porque queremos mantenernos viviendo en el humo.
Whatever you want to call Jesus, okay, I don't want to talk to him, and you get in this, don't get in this, that's smoke, the argument over which Course in Miracles, the argument of whether to talk to Jesus, all that's just smoke.
Y todos estos argumentos que tenemos acerca de cuál versión del curso leer, todo esto es humo, es mantenernos en el humo.
We're talking about the voice for wholeness within you that came with you even into miscreation.
Estamos hablando de la voz de la totalidad que está en ti, que vino contigo incluso a la creación falsa.
The voice of wholeness.
La voz de la totalidad.
I mean, Jesus doesn't care if you call him Beelzebub, that's still the same voice for wholeness inside you that knows the truth.
Y Jesús no se preocupa cómo lo llamen. Lo importante es que Él conoce la verdad.
It says in the Course to speak Jesus, of Jesus, Jesus Christ is to honor God because you're honoring the God within you.
Y como Él lo dice en el curso, hablar a Jesús es honrar a Dios, es honrarte a ti mismo.
So not, all of this, you let him take you to that, he's going to take you to the fuel. Let him take you to the fuel, and then you're not going to have so much. It's not fighting with thoughts up here. You gently go to Jesus. You gently go to a brother. I want to cease to value this fuel.
Y sí, no te mantengas en el humo, simplemente deja de negar esto y ve con Jesús al deseo.
Maybe it's not such a great idea to hang on to these desired experiences and keep dropping into hell every day.
Y quizá no sea muy buena idea aferrarnos a estos deseos y mantener el infierno todo el día.
There's only one thing happening, and it's not really happening, but if
Solo hay una cosa que está pasando, que en realidad no está pasando, pero
it's just a pretend illusory argument with God.
es pretender, un argumento en contra de Dios, un argumento ilusorio.
It's called the game of God going, I'm here for you. Oh, it didn't do the correct thing here.
Y sí, es como decir,
It's not
mire
connected
usted,
to the right thing.
I think you just accidentally hit the clap.
No, I don't think. I'll try it. Let's see. Maybe I did. Yeah, there it is. So the hand of God would come and reach toward you. See the hand coming together? Like the
sí,
Sistine Chapel?
viene la mano de Dios a tomarnos a nosotros. Es como en la Capilla Sixtina.
The one that made you, would he not be available to you 100% of the time?
El que te hizo, ¿no crees que estaría disponible el 100% de las veces?
There is the light of truth that lights everyone who is born.
Es la luz de la verdad que ilumina a todo quien ha nacido.
Sorry, God, I know you missed me.
Lo
Everybody but
siento,
me got.
Dios. Lo siento, Dios, pero tú te olvidaste de mí.
So just as the light, and this symbolized by the hands coming together, gets close,
Y este símbolo de estas dos manos acercándose,
we hold up the no thanks God button, sign, no God.
pero luego nosotros tenemos la señal de no, gracias, Dios.
Every time you don't follow, it's condoning hell for yourself.
Cada vez que no lo sigues es condonar, permitir el infierno para ti mismo.
There's no exception to that. There's
No
just
hay excepciones a esto.
no way to get around that. So we'll do it again. So God's always with you, ready to reach over.
Y si Dios siempre está listo a alcanzarte, a tocarte.
His son, there's nothing happier for him, for his son. This is a symbol of recognizing that you're always in union with your father.
Este es el símbolo de que siempre estás unido con tu Padre.
We're going in slow motion now. Not today. Thank you very much.
Y decimos, no hoy, gracias. Muchas
That's
gracias.
what mind wandering is. When you condone it, you're saying no thanks to God.
Y eso es lo que es la divagación mental. Tolerar esto es decirle no, gracias.
This is the Course in Miracles is an amazing, amazing curriculum.
Y el curso de milagros es una increíble currículum de estudios.
It is stunning.
Es asombroso,
It is simple.
es simple,
It is direct.
es directo.
All you have to do is lay out the welcome mat to God within you to guide you out.
Simplemente es poner el tapete de bienvenida a Dios para que Él te guíe de salida de esto.
Not going to follow today, Jesus.
No te voy a seguir hoy, Jesús.
The reason we don't follow, it's miracle block. It's to block all the miracles he's trying to help you perform when you follow him. That's it.
No seguirlo es tratar de bloquear los milagros que Él quiere que tú lleves a cabo.
It's just it's just so profound. The miracle, the Course of Miracles, we got the best, the most powerful symbol in consciousness going to help us out.
El curso milagroso es muy profundo y tenemos el mejor símbolo de la conciencia de que nos va a ayudar.
And we run the other way.
Y nosotros
The play.
corremos hacia el otro lado.
It's an addiction. You know, it's that the whole course is about you're addicted to your own miscreation, your sleepy sleep.
Es una adicción. Toda la creación falsa es un sueño.
Awakening wouldn't hurt if we would just give up the ghost.
Y el despertar no sería difícil si simplemente dejamos que se vaya el fantasma.
The problem is all the subconscious desires to have a horrific awakening experience.
Pero el problema son todos estos deseos subconscientes de tener una horrorífica despertar.
To prove that we've been abandoned by God. It's
De
crazy.
probar que Dios nos abandonó. Eso es
The
locura.
point of following him is to make it as gentle as possible.
Pero
No,
seguirlo es la forma más gentil de hacerlo, pero decimos no, gracias.
See, we don't see the challenges. We don't see where we're saying no thanks to all the help we would be provided through the Holy Spirit.
Y lo que le estamos diciendo es no, gracias a toda la ayuda proveída por el Espíritu Santo.
But he's giving us the Course in Miracles, it's devotion. 365 days of lessons is devotion to ourselves.
Y 365 lecciones del curso son devoción a nosotros mismos.
Which reminds me, if you look in the lessons, he's telling you in the lessons when you mind wandering, use the lesson.
Y porque Él nos recuerda que usar la lección cuando surge la divagación mental, usa la lección.
Why is that the solution, the solvent for mind wandering?
Porque esa es la solución para disolver la divagación mental.
So mind wandering is designed to dive, if you know the dream bubble diagram.
Sí, y si ustedes conocen el diagrama de la burbuja, la divagación mental es bucear.
Well, if you don't have it, we'll do a post with it, but it's diving into the dream bubble. That is what mind wandering is. I want to go as deeply as possible into the dream.
Si no la tienen, la vamos a publicar, pero la divagación mental es sumergirnos lo más profundo en el sueño de la burbuja.
So the brilliance of the lessons are their higher order thoughts that point, instead of down into the dream, they point back up to your infinite nature.
Y los pensamientos de un nivel superior, que son los del curso, te apuntan a nuestra divina naturaleza.
So you're giving yourself, you're hitting the wake up button for yourself and going, no, I'm not going to indulge in that. I'm going to look toward wholeness.
Es no apuntar al botón de el dormir, simplemente estamos yendo hacia la totalidad.
And he talks about this in the course, the power of the mind, of consciousness to be trained. It can be trained to focus on back toward infinite instead of focusing on the dream inside thoughts, feelings, emotions.
Y él nos muestra que tenemos el poder de ser entrenados, de entrenar la mente para enfocarnos hacia la totalidad en lugar de los pensamientos, sentimientos y emociones.
So he trains us, okay, to unlearn playing around in the delusion, to looking toward infinite, toward wholeness with those daily lessons. No, I'm not going to indulge. I'm going to look toward wholeness.
Sí, entonces él nos entrena con estas lecciones, con las lecciones diarias hacia la totalidad.
and to start to accept the divine power to say no to the smoke.
Y aceptar el poder divino para decirle no al humo.
And then when you start to see the power of joining, he's going to help get you with your brother. That looking gets you to what generates the smoke.
Y el poder que tienes de mirar con tu hermano dónde se está generando este humo.
But you see it first, I can see this now. He's talking about how in the beginning, of course, he's just trying to get you to even acknowledge that you have the power to focus on a higher thought.
Incluso él desde el comienzo del curso nos está enfocando a el poder que tenemos de tener pensamientos de un alto nivel.
And he says the Holy Spirit, because he's pointing to something out away from the smoke. He's going, look away from the smoke. Look that there's something else other than smoke and miscreation.
Y nos apunta que podemos mirar que hay algo más allá del el humo y la creación falsa.
So, looking away from the smoke is the beginning of the acceptance of changing your mind. It's these little breadcrumbs. It's phenomenal.
Es ver que podemos ver desde más allá de el humo. Es estas pequeñas migajitas de pan que nos va dejando. Es fenomenal.
The whole point of the whole point of a course is for you to get in collaboration with him so that you're going to be asking him everything. He gets that laser beam in there for you.
Y ver que podemos trabajar en colaboración con él y que él nos puede mostrar con ese rayo láser lo que tenemos que mirar.
And you can transcend the condoning of miscreation.
Y así tú puedes trascender la tolerancia a la creación falsa.
Condoning mind wandering.
La tolerancia a la divagación mental.
See, that it fuels the experience of weakness. This is good. Thank you, Jesus.
Esto nos apunta a más allá de la experiencia de la debilidad.
This is profound. He's saying, as long as you're mind wandering, you're going to feel weak.
Porque esto es muy profundo. Él dice, a medida que estás en la divagación mental, te sientes débil.
So the only thing Jesus does is he points you to your strength, your divine power.
Y lo único que Jesús está haciendo es apuntándote hacia tu fortaleza, tu divino poder.
When he's guiding you, he's saying you are not weak, you are powerful.
Cuando Él te está guiando, te está diciendo, no eres débil, eres poderoso.
He tells us you can do anything, everything I ask.
Y Él te dice, tú puedes hacer todo lo que yo te pida.
I've asked you to perform miracles.
Yo te he pedido que lleves a cabo milagros.
You have to follow him to perform the miracles he knows that you need.
Y tú tienes que seguirlo para llevar a cabo los milagros que se necesitan.
And this breaks the addiction to mind wandering.
Y esto rompe la adicción a la divagación mental.
And constant miscreation of stories and blaming your brother or, God's out to get me or...
Estas historias de culpar a tu hermano o que Dios me va a atrapar.
So we're laying down discussing the course.
Entonces estamos dejando de lado la discusión del curso.
The course is practical. It's the practice.
El curso es práctico, es la práctica.
It is a deep partnership with your brother in Jesus to do inner looking. I'm going to look this way inside myself to see what I've denied.
Esto es una asociación con Jesús y con tu hermano para mirar interiormente lo que hemos negado.
And it's so profound the way he takes you into the world more than you've ever, at least for me, because I wanted to withdraw from the world. See, I want to go,
Sí, porque te lleva hacia el mundo porque yo quería irme y estar,
But the assignments, it's just profound. He puts you in these assignments to look at all the places in your mind when he puts you into the world to transcend it. It's profound.
y estas asignaciones lo que hacen es que te llevan al mundo para trascenderlo. Es muy
Because the
profundo.
world reflects what you believe, and so he's putting you face to face with all your beliefs and desired experiences to show you, to help you see they are not true.
Y porque el mundo es lo que tú crees, entonces él te pone de frente para que mires estas creencias y experiencias deseadas y mostrarte que no son verdad,
And it's to help us cease to value the smoke and mirrors.
para que dejemos de valorar el humo y los espejos
And to cease to walk in a house of hell.
y de dejar de caminar en el infierno.
He keeps emphasizing, for me, it's about seeing, it's about what he wants to show us.
Y para mí, él sigue enfatizando, se trata de ver lo que él nos tiene que mostrar.
Our job is just to merely say, oh, I could be delusional.
Y nuestro trabajo es simplemente sí, he sido engañado.
The minute that, like they say, the willingness carries the firepower of God.
Y la voluntad trae todo el poder de Dios.
That little crack, he'll come in with that laser beam. You give it just a crack.
Este pequeño crack que es como un rayo láser.
Until you're willing to just go, show me all of it. Give it to me.
Y sí, hasta que estamos dispuestos y decimos, muéstramelo todo, dámelo todo.
I find no value in this world, Jesus, other than to heal my mind. Dun,
No
dun, dun.
tengo ninguna otra cosa valiosa en este mundo que sanar mi mente.
And then it's show me Jesus. And then, oh, shoot, maybe I don't want to see that. Okay, I'm going to see it anyway.
Y sí, es muéstrame Jesús, muéstrame Jesús. Quizá hay partes que no queremos ver, pero de todas maneras, muéstramelo.
And that's all it ever is. You're either aligning with God or you're not you, but the play is I'm going to discombobulate myself and play in consciousness some more.
Sí, o tú estás alineado con Dios o estás no tú, el juego de la conciencia está desarmado.
And keep blaming God and my brother and everything outside me for
Y
what I've.
mantenernos culpando a Dios y a nuestros hermanos de lo que pasa ahí.
Okay, but we're going to make a different choice. We can
Así-
right now.
Así que vamos a tomar una decisión diferente ahora mismo.
The power of the mind is always with us. It doesn't come and go.
El poder de la mente está siempre con nosotros, no es una cosa que va y viene.
You know, if you notice, oh man, I was off in Goo Goo Land. I'm out in Goo Goo Land. Oh, yeah.
Y sí, yo estaba constantemente en esta Google Land, en esta tierra de...
Thank you for trying to translate that, Maria.
Gracias por
Okay.
tratar de traducir esto, María. Así que
Okay.
sí.
I was swimming around in the dust of hell and I caught myself. Look.
Y he estado nadando en el polvo del infierno y me doy cuenta.
When he says condoning, he's telling you it's actually someone I just saw a quote from the Bhagavad Gita.
Y sí, cuando toleramos
is.
esta divagación. Y tengo aquí una cita del Bhagavad Gita.
It's profound. It says the same thing.
Es muy
It
profundo.
says that you have the power. Da,
Es
da,
muy
da.
profundo porque aquí dice que tú tienes el poder.
But I know that'll blow by most It was on an Advaita forum. Let's see if I can find that thing. It's
Sí,
amazing.
fue en una foro donde el
Might not be able to find it, but
pagar.
might not show up on my phone right here. But it basically says you can decide. And Ramana Maharshi said you can notice that the cows left the barn.
Sí, no lo pude encontrar por aquí en el teléfono, pero básicamente dice, como lo decía Ramana Maharshi,
All right.
tú dejas que cuando dejas que la vaca se vaya,
Don't judge it.
no la
Celebrate that
juzgues.
okay? Celebrate you noticed. Thank goodness. You're starting to wake up if you can notice where you're going to sleep.
Y simplemente no lo juzgues, celebra y ve que estás dormido.
You don't have to analyze it or, oh, you're bad because you're no.
Sí, no tienes que analizarlo y decir, no, tú eres malo.
Gently bring the cow back into the barn.
Simplemente, gentilmente, trae la vaca al potrero.
Okay, you can use it. Here's that's what the course lessons are for. It's a reminder. The barn is here. Come back in.
Sí, esas son las lecciones del curso, un recordatorio. Vuelve al potrero.
And then as you foster that relationship with the voice, you'll learn to, oh, my mind was over there. What, Jesus, can I look at the fuel for it?
Y sí, cuando tenemos esta posibilidad de trabajar directamente con él, le decimos, mira Jesús, mi mente estaba por allá, ¿cuál es el combustible que está llevándome a esto?
He's your buddy. He's going to show you how to get right to the fuel that generates all of that.
Él es tu amigo, él te mostrará qué es lo que está generando, cuál es el combustible que está generando todo esto.
Jesus, can you show me how I'm valuing all of this so that I can take the fuel out of it and be like this?
Simplemente es Jesús, muéstrame dónde estoy valorando esto para poder quitar este combustible que me muestra esto.
But you have to follow his assignments. He might say, okay, go join with this brother over here and look in with your brother so I can show you.
Y sí, entonces tú tienes que seguir las asignaciones y él te va a decir, únete con este hermano y para que él te muestre.
How much you like this.
¿Cuánto a ti te gusta esto?
That's all he's going to do is show you how much you like this.
Lo único que te puede mostrar es eso, cuánto te gusta esto.
See, and we become, this, we're trying to explain to Jesus how all that noise is happiness. Like,
Y
no.
si nosotros tratamos de explicarle a Jesús todo este ruido que creemos que esto es la felicidad.
Jesus is not out to get you. He's just to show you how much you're addicted to all of that.
Y Jesús no viene aquí a atraparte, simplemente te viene a mostrar cuánto adicto estás a esto.
What does it say in a course? To save time, because I've done this already.
Y sí, lo que él dice en el curso, él está aquí para ahorrarnos tiempo, porque él ya lo hizo.
Like Mary says, got the t-shirt. Jesus got the t-shirt.
Es como dice Mary, Jesús ya tiene la camiseta.
Don't you think he's going to know exactly which desire you need to look at the exact time that exactly needs the miracle?
¿Tú no crees que él sabe exactamente el momento que debes mirar exactamente y el milagro que se requiere?
Okay, go ahead, whoever wants to do the course without Jesus. It freaking saves a lot of time. That's it. I'm just saying.
Lo que lo estoy diciendo simplemente es que hacer el curso con él ahorra tiempo.
Okay, take the course and don't join with your brother to look deeply, even though he says join 400 times in a course.
Y sí, ve y haz el curso y no te reúnas con tus hermanos poderosos. Y aunque él diga que 400 veces en el curso unirse,
But for those who want to transcend the shadow of the valley of death
pero para aquellos que quieren trascender el valle de las sombras de la
and have
muerte
a direct experience at every freaking line in that course
y tener una
is
experiencia
truth.
directa de que cada línea del curso es cierta,
On the inside,
desde, desde tu interior,
that you will not read a single line in that course unless he tells you to do it.
y no leer ni siquiera una línea del curso a menos de que él te diga.
But he's telling me you would be much better use of time in most cases to actually go about the business of getting coached by him on forgiveness.
Porque él tiene un mejor uso del tiempo, porque él usa este tiempo para perdonar
And joining with your brother to look
y para unir, para que te unas con tu hermano a mirar
and committing the mind to following him in every circumstance.
y comprometerse a mirar la mente bajo cualquier circunstancia.
That is the course on the inside.
Eso es el curso desde adentro.
That's when the curriculum, you're giving over time and space to him for your benefit.
Eso es entregar el currículum, dar el tiempo y el espacio para que sea manejado por él.
All the way, Jesus.
Todo el camino, Jesús.
All the way.
Todo el camino.
Oh, yes, it is being transmitted. Somebody's asking me, and Arturo's asking in Spanish, is it being transmitted on Facebook? And yes, it is.
Arturo está preguntando si está siendo transmitido en Facebook y sí lo es, sí lo está.
Beautiful. Thank you for asking.
Hermoso, gracias por preguntar.
It actually, yeah, it's going live to YouTube too, hopefully.
Y también está en vivo en YouTube.
Yeah, it's going out on our page, on the brigade.
Y va a estar en
Spanish
la
group.
brigada.
But we have to say, occasionally our streaming program does what it wants to do. So, in theory, that's our intention.
En teoría esa es nuestra intención, pero a veces el streaming hace lo que quiere.
So, beloved mighties, it's time to hear all the Jesuses out there speak or ask questions.
Ahora es tiempo para que los Jesuses ahí hagan sus preguntas.
This was direct, straight talking Jesus tonight for me.
Esta fue una directa conversación con Jesús esta noche. Esto para mí.
Well, something that seems to be sinking in more for me something
Could you repeat that?
yeah, something that seems to be sinking in more for me
Parece que mucho de esto era para mí.
is that I don't know if I could join enough or too much. I don't know if I could join too much.
Porque siento que podría estar uniéndome demasiado.
Commit to that. And then like how addiction seems really powerful.
Y luego, como creo que la adicción es muy poderosa.
So like this, if that could be so powerful, seeming experience of addiction,
esta experiencia es muy, esta experiencia es muy
And
adictiva.
then just see how I have that flipped. So that addiction is not so I'm not giving it. Oh, I
So
don't
do you
know
have a question, Renee, maybe?
Not
Maybe
no, it's not a question. It's more of like he was showing me about addiction and that it's like addiction seems so powerful.
Le pregunta que si tiene alguna pregunta y dice que no, que es más que una pregunta, es ver que ella cree que la adicción es muy poderosa.
well, it's a trick, you can't really see how addicted you are, so you have to take it a twitch at a time.
Eso es un truco y tienes que tomarlo, estas molestias uno a uno.
So you have to take it a miracle at a time.
Tienes que tomar un milagro a la vez.
So it's a decision to cease to indulge, and that's the most important place to put the mind.
Es la decisión de no tolerar más la divagación, la creación falsa. Ahí es donde tienes que apuntar.
Because he's saying it, he says it's flat out in a course. The addiction is never more powerful than we are.
Porque él dice en el curso que la adicción no es más poderosa de lo que nosotros somos.
And the power we have to make a decision right now that this need not be.
Y de que y del poder que tenemos de ver ahora mismo que esto no tiene por qué ser así.
So that's really the question. Jesus, am I willing to make a decision for myself?
Entonces la pregunta es, Jesús, ¿estoy dispuesto de tomar esta decisión en favor mío?
Yeah, just to cease to invest in the like how I think that addiction is more powerful.
Sí, es como dejar de tolerar esto, es ver que la adicción no es más poderosa.
You're saying that it maybe I have some. I think there's some value in that still.
Porque tú dices que crees que aún tengo valor en esto, aún lo valoro.
But inside of it, we don't see that we're addicted to it.
Dentro de ello, nosotros no nos damos cuenta que realmente somos adictos a esto,
That it's crack cocaine. The
de que
consciousness that pain and suffering is like crack cocaine to us.
es como una cocaína, la conciencia, el dolor y el sufrimiento
Well, what
son
it
como una
seems like
cocaína.
he was showing me something that's seeming powerful, but the light, in contrast with the light or the true power to decide for God.
Sí, era como que me estaba mostrando el contraste de la luz y el poder de decidir por Dios.
So the real take home is I can decide differently right this minute and being consistent.
Algo para llevarte es que puedes ver que puedes elegir de nuevo y de manera consistente.
Like it's accepting the power in the mind. That's like the top priority. I accept the power I have in my mind to cease to condone and indulge in this. Because that
Sí,
is the level of,
es aceptar el poder de la mente y ver que tenemos este poder de dejar de permitir o
I'm saying
tolerar
that
la creación falsa.
I'm powerful enough to miscreate, something that seems to be more powerful than I am.
Sí, es creer que yo soy más, que la creación falsa es más poderosa que yo, lo que yo soy.
or like I can pretend that that's occurring.
O puedo fingir que eso es lo que está ocurriendo.
So then I can say no to that.
That's the only way out, is to get to that level of decisiveness in the mind, but that's why it's one miracle at a time.
Yeah.
Sí, esa es la forma de salida de esto, es llegar a ese punto de decisión, pero tenemos que tomar un milagro a la vez.
Yeah, I could see um just how much I want to say no to the miracle.
Solo puedo ver cuánto le quiero decir no al milagro.
Um, and then like that it's not hard to just admit that.
No es difícil simplemente admitir eso,
That I'm choosing that.
que yo estoy eligiéndolo.
Like admit the admit that it's desired.
Admitir que es un deseo.
It seems like I'm addicted to choice.
Parece que estoy adicta a la elección.
So this is a really good one to sit down and go deep and journal with Jesus. What's really needs to be looked at. That's
Sí, esto es muy, muy profundo y es importante que te sientes y hagas como un diario con Jesús a ver qué Jesús te dice acerca de ello.
what really needs to be looked at and seen through here.
¿Qué es realmente lo que tiene que ser visto aquí?
And then let him guide. Here's what to look at here deeply.
Y luego dejar que Él te guíe y que te diga qué es lo que tienes que mirar profundamente.
Because he will be, he'll be direct. Here's what you're condoning. Here's
Eh,
what you're.
Porque Él va a ser muy directo y Él te va a decir, mira aquí donde estás tolerando.
I can see how important this allowing him to be so specific in the mind is, to get right to the point of it.
Me doy cuenta de la importancia que es permitir que Él sea quien dirija y nos lleve al grano.
Because consciousness likes to do something called chunking up, and it puts a lot of things in a bucket that prevents the deeper specifics that we need to let him point into.
Sí, porque a la conciencia le gusta como tener pedazos grandes y no ir profundamente a lo que se necesita ver.
But there's like, that specific, of that laser, what's really underneath all of this.
Y es ver
Something deeper.
específicamente qué hay debajo de esto.
See, and it's like consciousness plays it. You have to be, I can just see I had to stay on it with him to the point, because it'll pop up like a cork and go, okay, it's this. And it's getting into that refinement of, is that it really, Jesus? Or is it something deeper that I need to look at?
Sí, es permitir que él sea muy específico y preguntarle, Jesús, esto es lo que tienes que mirar, tengo que mirar o tengo que ir más profundo.
Is this what you want me to look? It's like it's so valuable to constantly test those things with him. Is this what you're pointing me to, or is there something deeper that I need to see?
Es
That's
muy,
why those.
es,
Yeah,
es muy importante que él te diga específicamente qué es lo que tienes que ver y preguntarle, ¿esto es lo que tú quieres que vea o hay algo más profundo que tengo que ver?
that's why those yes nos are so valuable.
Por eso los sí y los no son tan valiosos.
Jesus, is there something deeper for me to look at here? Yes or no?
¿Hay algo más profundo, Jesús, que tenga que mirar aquí? ¿Sí o no?
Yes.
But the power of this, Renee, is what you're pointing to here for everyone is this radical self-honesty willingness to ask him the question and hear that truth. That is accepting power.
Y sí, lo que nos estás trayendo aquí, René, para todos es el poder de ver que Él nos apunte y nos diga exactamente lo que tenemos que ver.
And that
Ese es el
allows
verdadero poder.
And that's allowing your mind to be open enough for him to take you to that next level where he wants to, because you're willing. So then he'll take you underneath this to get right into, under all the smoke.
Sí, es permitir que Él nos lleve a otro nivel debajo del humo.
And then you can join with a brother or, show us Jesus, get me right in there to the golden nugget. And then you start going for those desires like they're golden nuggets, David.
Sí, y luego ir hacia esos deseos como
Because
pepitas de oro.
And as we talked about, I think earlier this week, he's bringing it back to me, for me.
Y me recuerda que a principios de esta semana, y esto es para mí,
How do you handle mind wandering?
¿cómo podemos manejar la divagación mental?
Follow.
Well, yeah, but when he shows you, when he gives you that specificity of a desire,
Cuando Él te da un deseo específico,
then you hang, like I would hang on to him until there's not a scrap left. Jesus, will you take me all the way? I mean, he may not, but if he's willing to do it because he knows I'm ready, then no scraps, nothing, my windshield is clean.
sí, cuando Él te da específicamente un deseo, es ir hasta no dejar nada de eso, hasta dejar totalmente limpio.
See that? Because now you've just totally doused the fuel that was burning. You totally took it out.
Es quitar completamente el combustible que generaba esto.
We can't sneak back in and do this.
Y no volver y hacer esto.
It's like you were talking about, you've talked about like layers.
Es como tú has hablado acerca de las capas.
Like accepting miracles as you go deeper.
Es aceptar milagros a medida que vas más profundo.
And I was kind of seeing like could be delusional, and then to just stay kind of like you're saying, stay with him, because you said that last week and I thought, oh yeah, I am. And then I noticed that there's still,
Sí, tú hablaste de esto la semana pasada, pero me doy cuenta que yo todavía estoy
I'm
en
still condoning the
que aún sigo tolerando esto.
Yeah, it's that everything comes together as a package. You just see it, It's choosing to be decisive in your mind. I'm not, I can just see it when I just said, I am not going to tolerate this in my mind. How many times I had to just be so decisive. I'm sure there's more coming. I don't know. But, just say, I am not going to tolerate, it's just being decisive because we're so wishy-washy about our divinity.
Sí, es ser totalmente, esto es como un paquete completo, donde tú tienes que ser totalmente decidido, no estar como dudando.
That's the addiction, is being wishy-washy to divinity. So the way to break that is saying, no, I have the power vested in me by the God the Father to no longer tolerate this in my mind.
Sí, es como no ser, ver que tenemos el poder garantizado por el Padre para no tolerar esto más en nuestra mente.
So it's decisiveness.
Eso es ser decidido.
That's, it's, am I willing to be decisive about my power to accept miracles?
Estoy dispuesto a ser decisivo para que tengo el poder de eh, mirar esto en mi mente.
Yes.
Sí,
Thank you, Renee.
Thank
gracias,
you.
René.
Oh, now I think we'll go to the, hold on just a minute. There we go. Okay, hold on, make sure we got all the mics on and,
Yeah.
I have a question.
oh, okay. Well, okay, I'm not sure who is that, and we'll come right, oh, Lynn.
This is Lynn.
Oh, we'd love to hear from you. Can David speak, and then we'll jump right to you?
Oh, okay, sorry.
No, I'm delighted. You're bringing God to my door. Thank you.
So, I just wanted to share on this same topic you're talking about, Renee. Mind wandering has been a nemesis for me for, obviously all my life, but oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Maria.
Ok, esto ha sido, voy a hablar de este mismo tema que está hablando René, y para mí la divagación mental ha sido algo que me ha acompañado toda mi vida.
And I've been hearing Kay talk about you just have to be decisive and say no to the ego.
Y lo que escucho que dice Kay aquí es que tenemos que ser decisivos y decirle no al ego.
Intellectually, I've been understanding this, but below the level of my awareness, I'm still been putting value on the world of form.
Y sí, por debajo de mi nivel de conciencia aún le estoy dando valor a la forma, al mundo de la forma.
Now, what I've also been doing is admitting over and over and over how much I don't want to hear Jesus's voice and I don't want to follow.
Y lo que he estado haciendo es una y otra vez es admitir que no quiero escuchar la voz de Jesús y que no quiero seguirlo.
And we're also doing a lot of deep digging and looking at a lot of desires.
Y hemos estado mirando profundamente, cavando profundamente y mirando muchos deseos.
And Jesus has been sharing with me and through Kay that you just need to be gentle. Don't make yourself wrong for it.
Y lo que Jesús me ha compartido a través de Kay es que tengo que ser amable conmigo mismo y no hacer de esto como algo equivocado.
And then yesterday during the morning session, the desire was to value my thoughts more than God's.
Y en la sesión de ayer vimos el deseo de valorar los pensamientos más de lo que valoramos a Dios.
And some things that Kay mentioned during the lesson just really, really hit home for me.
Y muchas cosas de las que mencionó Kay durante la sesión me impactaron muchísimo a mí.
One was that you really have to step into the ring of fire.
Y una de las cosas fue que tenía que mantenerme en el anillo de fuego.
And then Jesus said, when you do, you'll see that it's not fire. It's actually just a morning fog.
Y luego Jesús me decía que realmente no es un fuego, que es simplemente una neblina matutina
And it'll fade away as the sun rises.
y que se va a evaporar cuando el sol salga.
She said, which Jesus said, on the other side of your greatest fear, you'll find your greatest love.
Y Jesús dice, al otro lado de tu mayor miedo está tu mayor amor, tu gran amor.
And then she said, the only way that you'll get your power is to say no to the ego.
Y la otra cosa que dijo ella es que la única manera de obtener tu poder es decirle no al ego.
And I've been sitting on the fence about saying no to the ego, while still valuing what I think is valuable.
Y lo que he estado es manteniéndome en decirle no al ego y no valorando lo que no tiene valor.
And as you've heard me share in guidance sessions, I haven't been following like consistently all day, every day.
Y como lo he compartido en las sesiones de guía, he estado siguiendo la guía durante todo el día.
And yeah, that just pushed me off the fence, it felt like.
Y eso me empuja fuera de la valla.
It's time to say no to the ego all day and say yes to following.
Es tiempo de decirle no al ego y sí a la guía y seguirlo.
And it feels like I've assimilated, the understanding of the value of following.
Es como que yo estoy asimilando y entendiendo el valor de el seguir.
Everything else is wasting time in hell.
Lo demás es pérdida de tiempo en el infierno.
So yeah, that's just what I wanted to share. Thank you.
Eso es lo que quería compartir. Gracias.
Thank you, David. That's beautiful. That's kind of like the bottom line, isn't it?
Gracias, David.
Hello?
Eso es maravilloso.
So I'm trying to, okay, so Lynn Robin, I'd love to hear from you. Do you feel okay with turning on your camera?
¿Estaría bien para ti prender la cámara, Lynn?
I have to ask, maybe if I asked on mute. Lynn Robin, did you want to ask a question? We'd love to hear from you.
Lynn,
love
¿quieres
her.
hacer una pregunta?
Oh,
Nos
did you hear
encantaría
me?
saber de
Sorry,
ti.
I think.
There you go.
Sorry, I turned
Okay.
off my speaker instead of turned off my mute. Sorry
No,
about
we're
that.
glad.
Oh,
Will you feel okay turning on your videos so we can spotlight you?
yeah, I'd rather not. It's 10 o'clock here. I'm already in my nightie, and I'm not comfortable with it going public on YouTube.
Happy to see
But you
Heidi,
can see,
but we'll
you can
take,
see my picture.
yeah, okay.
Anyway, you had said about that you had defined a miracle as no longer, I think this is something like what you said, no longer valuing a desire more than God. Is that how you put it?
Tú estabas
Yes.
diciendo que tenemos que pedir un milagro para no valorar más esto, más de lo que valoramos a Dios.
Yes.
Sí.
Okay, so my question is, can I value a desire just a little bit less than I value God and still keep it?
Puedo valorar un poquito menos el deseo y aún mantenerlo. Algo así.
Because you also said, at some point you have to find no value in this world other than to heal your mind. So there seems to be, maybe I'm splitting hairs here, but there seems to be like a great divide, a distance between those two. Valuing a desire just a little bit less than you value God versus not valuing it at all and only valuing healing of your mind.
Porque dice que es como valorar un poquito menos el deseo, que si podemos valorar un poquito menos el deseo en lugar de decir que no valorarlo para absolutamente nada, que sí, así se podía lograr esto.
Oh,
So if we start with infinite, the holy instant,
Si nosotros comenzamos con lo infinito, con el instante santo,
and we're of God given everything,
y donde Dios nos da absolutamente todo,
in order to desire, to have a desire, there's a presupposition that something is missing.
entonces cuando tenemos un deseo, estamos asumiendo que algo está haciendo falta.
So it's like a wish to feel that something is missing.
Es como un deseo para completar algo que está incompleto.
So as long as we have a wish to experience something missing, we're going to feel like God is missing.
Cuando nosotros deseamos algo que creemos que nos está haciendo falta, entonces estamos sintiendo que Dios nos está haciendo falta.
So, Lynn, do you have a desire that you can think of that you would be concerned about not having anymore?
¿Tú tienes un deseo que puedas creer que te preocupa no tener algo?
That I would have. I'm just talking in general terms. Like,
Okay.
Yeah.
No, simplemente estoy hablando en términos generales.
I want to really make sure I'm understanding what you're saying, what your thoughts are around desires, and that I'm interpreting what you're saying and hearing it.
Sí, lo que quiero es estar clara en en la interpretación de lo que estás escuchando, de lo que son los deseos.
Well, what if I had a desire that I valued more than God, and I reduced that desire to the point where it's maybe 49%, and my valuing of God was 51%? Would that be a miracle? Or how far do I need to get rid of this desire altogether? You know?
¿Qué pasa si yo tengo un milagro, un deseo que yo valoro un poco menos digamos, como el 49% y yo valoro a Dios como un 51%?
Okay. Well, let's take a specific example, okay, and then you test it on other desires, okay, that Jesus gives from a course.
Bueno,
Okay.
vamos a hacer una prueba con un deseo y luego tú los miras con otros deseos como Jesús nos los va mostrando en el curso.
Here's a belief from the course. You believe that your brother can steal heaven from you.
Entonces, esta es una creencia del curso. Tú crees que tu hermano puede robarte el cielo.
So Jesus says, thus you desire an experience of feeling like your brother can steal heaven from you.
Entonces, Jesús dice que esto es el deseo de una experiencia de sentir que tu hermano puede robarte el cielo.
So would that be a desire I would want to have 20% of or zero?
Y
Well, that seems
tú,
to be an all or nothing. Oh, sorry.
en este deseo, ¿tú quisieras tener un 20% de este deseo o cero?
I was thinking that seems to be an all or nothing proposition. I was thinking more like a desire like chocolate.
Sí, esto parece que esto es como un 100% o un 0%, pero yo estaba pensando más en un deseo de un chocolate.
So I'm loving this, by the way. Are you called Lynn or Lynn Robin?
Either way, yeah. Whatever
Lynn
you're comfortable with.
Robin, this is spectacular. Okay.
Te llamamos Lynn o Lynn Robert. Ella dice cualquier modo. Entonces, esto es espectacular, dice Kay.
So the good news is we actually were guided to have chocolate last week.
Y la semana pasada fuimos guiados a comer chocolate, dice.
The difference is if it's the way the mind takes something in form and believes that happiness comes from chocolate.
El tema es que en la mente creemos que en la forma y creemos que tener un chocolate, tomar un chocolate nos trae felicidad.
So you still may have chocolate, but you're a fountain of joy inside, whether you have chocolate or not.
El tema es que tú puedes tener un chocolate, comerte un chocolate, pero tú eres una fuente de alegría dentro de ti, de gozo dentro de ti. No importa si tienes chocolate o no lo tienes.
David, did you like the taste of that chocolate?
Mm-hmm.
Kay, did
¿Te
you like the
gus-
taste? Did I like the taste of chocolate?
Mm-hmm.
¿Les gustó el sabor del chocolate? Está preguntando, ¿ok?
But because with the clearing of desires to zero with Jesus, I don't mistake my happiness is coming from chocolate, whether I have it or not.
Pero como yo estoy trabajando con Jesús, me doy cuenta que mi felicidad no viene de si tengo o no tengo un chocolate.
So all he's offering, see, happiness is having no desires. You don't
La,
desire
fe-
anything
la felicidad es no tener deseos, no tienes ningún deseo.
because you know the celebration is knowing that you're one with God, which is everything.
Porque la celebración es darte cuenta que tú eres uno con Dios, que eso es todo.
So it just releasing what Jesus shows you, you can you can go through the course and do what he had me do, search on You Believe, and you can see all the ways we believe something in form. Our happiness comes from putting a brown thing in our mouth.
Sí, y vemos en todas estas creencias que creemos que nuestra felicidad viene de ponernos algo café en nuestra boca.
Or deprived if I don't have chocolate.
O que soy privado si no tengo chocolate.
We enjoyed that ice cream. Thank you,
Sí,
Jesus.
y nos encanta ese lado. Sí, gracias Jesús, nos encantó.
But I see now it doesn't, it's not no longer used as a way to deny myself the recognition of heaven within.
Pero entonces nos damos cuenta que no usamos esto para negar el cielo dentro de nosotros.
So that's all he shows us is, okay, here's where you're using chocolate or food or anything in form is your source. Pretending like that can make you happy, cause and effect. I eat this chocolate, and because I ate the chocolate, I am happy now.
Es ver que no usamos estas cosas para negar y simplemente nos damos cuenta de que no soy feliz porque me comí ese chocolate.
I've got to have chocolate,
Yo tengo que tener chocolate.
So all he's doing by releasing desires is we're not always hungry for every chocolate of the world all day long and feel bereft of God.
Y lo que pasa es que no nos sentimos hambrientos de chocolate todo el tiempo y luego nos sentimos privados por Dios.
But you don't have to start with chocolate. You can start with some of these ones where you can tell, boy, this is not a good thing to have around hanging out in my mind.
Y sí, podemos también mirar otros, no solo el chocolate, sino otros que no queremos tener en nuestra mente.
Here's one from the Course. You believe you are being punished by God.
Y aquí hay otro del curso. ¿Tú crees que vas a ser castigado por Dios?
Thus, you desire an experience where you feel punished by God.
Por lo cual tienes el deseo de una experiencia donde te sientes castigado por Dios.
So when we look at that one, I look at that, I don't want any of that. I want that to zero. Thank you very much, Jesus.
Sí, y en esos yo, por ejemplo, quiero tener 0. Y gracias, muchas gracias, Jesús.
So, chapter 20 of Jesus, a New Covenant, the book, all that is how he taught me how to look with him at each of these and bring them to zero. From A
Y
Course in Miracles.
el capítulo 20 fue donde Jesús me trajo todos estos deseos del curso de milagros para llevarlos a cero.
But you know, there's a part of us that goes, but what about chocolate, Jesus?
Pero algunas cosas como, ¿y qué pasa con el chocolate, Jesús?
And by the way, we had chocolate cake just to
Y de hecho,
thanks
tuvimos
to
un pastel de chocolate.
Well,
I
well,
forgot about
chocolate
that.
is
Thanks for bringing up chocolate. So you have chocolate, but you're not denying yourself heaven over having it. You know what I mean? You're like in the celebration. So it's like icing on the cake. But just test some of these out.
Así que prueba con algunos de estos.
You know, I would take them for a test, Jesus, for a test ride on a couple of these and see how much lighter you are. Because that's what happened. I was just so lightened. It's like a big, heavy load coming off.
Sí, y mira esto con Jesús porque es como quitarse y aligerarse una carga muy pesada que tenemos.
And to start with the ones that you believe you can be killed. That's good.
Y comenzar con los que conoces. ¿Tú crees que puedes ser matado?
You believe God seeks vengeance.
¿Tú crees que Dios busca venganza?
You know, we can start with some of those experiences that God seeks vengeance might not be a happy one. Good place for a miracle. We can start there, you know.
Sí, podemos comenzar con estos que donde creemos que Dios busca venganza y empezar ahí.
And then,
well, I really thought I was asking a simple question, so I didn't realize this was going to get so complicated and go on so long, and I'm losing battery power and I'm losing mind function.
it's a wonderful question. It's
because
a wonderful.
I really understand, like, for instance, like chocolate is symbolic of like physical pleasures, right? Physical pleasure. So you're talking about bringing desires down to zero, right? And
Sí.
you're saying that we never should have any physical
Okay.
pleasures in our life.
We need to just pause a minute so Maria can translate.
Sí, ella dice, Lynn, que no creía que iba a ser tan complicado el tema, pero simplemente ella dice, Kate dice que es un maravilloso tema que haya traído ella, porque en general dice, "No, sí, yo veo que el chocolate, dice Lynn, como los placeres del mundo, em, y, y, y que los puede llevar a cero.
It's a fabulous question, Lynn.
Es una pregunta fabulosa.
Because the biggest concern is that there's going to be some kind of loss if we, work with Jesus to release the desires.
Porque creemos que hay una pérdida en creer que trabajar con Jesús acerca de los deseos hay una pérdida.
And he wants us to rest assured that there's no sacrifice, that you'll just be happy and you may still be eating chocolate. I mean, but you'll be a fountain of happiness on the inside.
Sí, tú vas a mantenerte como una fuente de felicidad independiente del chocolate.
And you may eat chocolate at the same time.
Y quizá puedas tener un chocolate, comer un chocolate al mismo tiempo.
So it's a wonderful question. Thank you.
Es una
Yeah,
maravillosa pregunta.
The only thing I can take away from this is that maybe it's a case by case basis. Some desires, it's a miracle if we can release some of it so that we don't value it more than God. Other desires we should bring down to zero, case by case basis. So that's the only thing I can take away from this.
Esto es lo que me puedo llevar, es como que podemos llevar algunos deseos al 0% y quizá otros no tanto, es como eso.
Well, the Buddha said desirelessness is nirvana.
El Buda dice, no tener deseos es el nirvana.
So if you just give Jesus the spaciousness, he'll walk you through all of this. So we don't have to be concerned that it's God, either or God or these things. Yeah, or
Sí, sí. Y si tú le das espacio a Jesús o a Dios, Él te va a llevar, porque no es un tema si es de chocolates o de cualquier otra cosa.
and then he'll lead you where and especially where you can look at some of the beliefs and the ones that you're willing to go to zero, I just go all the way. And then he'll show you the rest.
Sí, Jesús te va a mostrar y te va a guiar a través de todos ellos.
And is that definition of a miracle, no longer valuing a desire more than God, is that in the course somewhere, or was that in your covenant book?
¿Esta definición del milagro está en el curso o está en tu libro, Un Nuevo Convenio?
It's just where miracles occur at the level of desire.
Es simplemente
Jesus
los
is
milagros
pointing to it.
ocurren a nivel de deseo.
He says, the experience of the world comes from your desire for it.
Jesús dice, la experiencia viene de tu deseo de tenerla.
So desiring something else. So all a miracle does is take away the desire for something other than God.
Entonces el milagro lo que hace es quitar el deseo de una cosa diferente a Dios.
So it's that wanting energy. I want to feel like I'm not full. It's described throughout the Course in Miracles. It's what exactly A Course in Miracles is pointing to.
Es creer que no estamos llenos, no estamos completos. Y eso es a lo que apunta el curso de milagros.
When he says a miracle is ceasing to value the valueless.
Dice en el curso, es dejar de valorar lo que no tiene valor.
It's ceasing to value the experience of desiring something when you have everything.
Es el deseo de experimentar algo cuando tú lo tienes todo.
It's a change in mind. I'm not going to value whatever this experience, this twitch I'm having, this upset.
Es dejar de valorar esta molestia, esta incomodidad de lo que sea.
So it is the direct metaphysics of A Course in Miracles.
Es una directa metafísica de un curso de milagros.
It's direct metaphysics. That's the metaphysics of it. I desire something that is not of God, and I'm going to change my mind and no longer desire something not of God.
Es el deseo de algo diferente a Dios y cambiar nuestra decisión y no dejar de no valorar, o sea, dejar de valorar esto.
It's a change of mind. I change my mind, right? That's really clear in the Course. You can see that. I'm going to change my mind. I'm not going to value this upset.
Voy a cambiar de mentalidad. No voy a valorar más esta molestia.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, Lynn, that's just awesome. So many good questions about here. Thank you.
Gracias, Lynn. Muchas muy buenas preguntas. Gracias.
Any other questions?
I just wanted to, this is Fran. I just wanted to say something about miracles. The whole first chapter, I've myself have found there's no specific definition. There's it's an experience of changing perception, of experiencing the love of God. The first chapter talks about miracles in a way that I think might be really useful if you're asking about the definition. I was just speaking to Lynn.
Yeah, thanks,
Yeah,
Fran.
hi, Fran. Yeah, that's why I was asking, because I didn't remember seeing that specific definition in any of the miracle principles. And I was wondering if it was just really more or less extrapolated from the course, from the metaphysics, which I think that case said, yeah, that's what
It
it
is.
is in relation to desire.
If you read the course directly, you'll see it's in there. You know, it's changing your mind. What are you, so then the question is, what am I changing my mind about?
Right.
And then and then you learn from him what generates perception.
Let Maria translate.
Y sí, permiten así mirar qué es lo que está generando la creación falsa.
Lever. So it's when when you understand how perception is generated through beliefs,
Cuando tú ves que la percepción es generada a través de las creencias,
this is really deep course metaphysics. The desire is very deep course metaphysic.
los deseos, la metafísica del curso muy profunda.
It's wanting something other than God experience.
Es el deseo de una experiencia de algo diferente a Dios.
And seeing that the powers there no longer value an experience other than God.
Y dejar de valorar este deseo de esta experiencia diferente a Dios.
So, and one of the reasons it is well elucidated, it is true, it is well elucidated for me in Jesus, a New Covenant. But if you look in the course, it is in there.
Sí, y esto me fue dado a mí, pero también si lo miras en el curso, ahí está.
Yeah, Fran.
I had to come at it through the back door because I really, no matter intellectually, Roman Catholically, or any other way, I didn't have a clue about what God's love was really all about. But I sure did
Yo
have.
no tenía ni la menor
Oh.
idea de que realmente lo que era el amor de Dios, incluso que fui criada como católica y romana, no tenía ni la menor idea del amor de Dios.
But I certainly knew what was painful and what
Pero,
was causing
pero, sí-
suffering.
pero realmente sí podía darme cuenta que era doloroso y que me causaba dolor.
No, I should say I didn't know what was causing. I
Y,
had that all mixed up.
y realmente no sabía qué estaba generando el dolor. Había esa mezcla.
So it came to that point, like it did with Bob Thetford. Oh, there's got to be a better way than this endless shit.
Y sí, como que llegué al punto donde tenía que parar esto, donde tenía que haber otra manera.
And that's when the course and my willingness and Jesus, with or without the course, my willingness
Y fue a través de mi voluntad, con la ayuda de Jesús, con el curso.
that question, the last unanswered question maybe is, do I want to see the magnificence underneath this?
Y sí, la última pregunta aún sin responder. ¿Estoy dispuesta a ver la magnificencia debajo de esto?
So I did not know about God's love. I had to learn, as the course says, I knew I was miserable.
Y sí, y realmente no sabía, no entendía el amor de Dios, y me estaba sintiendo miserable.
And miracles are part of the illusion, but they're a way out.
Y los milagros es parte de la ilusión, pero son la salida.
So wait a minute. Anyway, when it comes to that sense of desiring something more or less than the love of God,
Cuando vienen estos deseos de querer más o menos que el amor de Dios,
it's like you said, Kay, I don't know what I don't know.
es como tú dices, yo no sé lo que no sé.
So when a little piece comes up, because I'm seeing it out there, and now I've learned to take responsibility for it. I know that I want it, otherwise it wouldn't be there.
Y sí, he aprendido a tomar responsabilidad, porque si está ahí es porque realmente lo quiero.
Then that's all I need to work with. That's what I'm finding out. I just need to work with that piece that has been revealed.
Y sí, entonces tengo que trabajar con esa pieza que me ha sido revelada.
Otherwise, the ego gets me by the throat and says, this is so huge, you'll never clear it.
Sí, de lo contrario, el ego me va a atrapar y va a decir, nunca te limpiarás, nunca vas a estar limpia de esto.
And then the other side is God's love is so huge, I'll disappear with it.
Por el otro lado está, el amor de Dios es tan grande que yo voy a desaparecer.
So for me, I just had to bring it down to this little step. And when I asked Jesus, that's it. If I'm talking with Jesus, he just leads me as fast as he knows I can go.
Y sí, y cuando yo voy a
That's all.
Jesús, Él me puede llevar lo más rápido que yo puedo ir. Eso es todo.
Yeah. Now I'm just going to stop now. I'm not sure why I even spoke, but
No estoy segura incluso porque hablé. Voy a parar aquí. Okay, I cannot hear you.
If you look for the word wish, Lynn, it's the same as desire. Your wish, he uses the word wish a lot in A Course in Miracles. It's
Y él habla mucho de la palabra deseo, deseo. Y si lo miras, exactamente es lo mismo que deseo.
it's wishing for an experience other than God. And so that's one way you can, if you feel open, you can start to discover for yourself within the feeling of if you feel like something's missing or wanting something and you just see it's like this angst, and that's part of that desire for an experience of separation. The Course is all about wanting, it's that we've chosen. See, if you choose something, that means you want it. And that's all this points to. It just points that we have the power to cease to wish for something that can't be true.
Es ver que tenemos el poder de elegir y pedir algo, de dejar de desear algo que diferente a Dios.
And to be coached by Jesus to see where we're wishing for untruth. We're wishing to have an experience, a dream of untruth.
Y ser entrenados por Jesús para que nos muestre dónde estamos deseando lo que no es verdad.
And then he'll show us where we think that wish that we're having is heaven for us when it's not really heaven.
Y dónde creemos que este deseo es el cielo cuando no es el cielo.
So this is robust, Lynn. It's really, really robust. Really
Esto es muy
wonderful.
robusto, es muy robusto.
For everyone. This is why these questions are so important for all of us.
Por eso es que estas preguntas son tan importantes para todos.
And
Maybe you
it's
could do a seminar
exactly-
sometime on why is it that if you believe something, if you have a belief in something, it automatically means that you have a desire for that experience. Because I
Sí,
really I don't grok that. But not
quizá
now. I mean,
deberían hacer un seminario con relación a esto, pero no ahora, donde podamos asimilar cómo las experiencias surgen porque se desean.
that is another excellent question, Lynn.
Esa es otra
These are
excelente
good.
pregunta.
Oh my
Estos
God.
son,
Okay. Yeah, that is such a good one, and especially when you start talking to Jesus and talking to him about that one. Oh, that's the unraveling of the ego thought system right in there.
justo ahí es donde está el deshacimiento del sistema de pensamientos del ego.
See, beliefs are like the fulfillment of what we want to experience.
Las creencias son como el cumplimiento de lo que
oh, I
nosotros
should have
queremos
thought about
experimentar.
What?
I shouldn't have brought it up. You got to do a whole nother seminar on it.
Quizá
I
no debió
know, it's
haberlo,
wonderful. Keep them
eh,
coming, Lynn.
no debió haber traído esto porque va a ser esto todo otro seminario.
Because
Pero
it's
Kate
always
dice, síguelo trayendo porque siempre es para nosotros.
these are good gifts you're laying at our door.
Estos son grandes regalos que tú estás poniendo en nuestra puerta.
But you're right, it is a whole talk. For me,
Sí,
to listen to
sí,
Jesus.
sí, para mí, sí, todo esto es toda una charla.
It
All right.
it's
Good night, all. Thank you.
yeah, thank you, Lynn. It's beautiful.
All right.
We have another talk potentially.
Vamos a tener aquí potencialmente otra charla con relación a esto.
You see, when you grok what that question is and the answer to it, you can see the decisions in the mind for experience.
Cuando tú asimilas esto completamente a la mente, te das cuenta de la decisión por estas experiencias.
I mean, he goes through 500 beliefs for a reason in A Course in Miracles, and we know why. We got to get under those.
Sí, por eso él habla de 500 creencias en el curso, porque nosotros tenemos que ir a mirar esto.
Profound, so profound. Good questions. Keep them coming.
Muy profundo, muy profundo. Manténgase viniendo.
Beliefs are like the fulfillment. Oh my gosh, so much love. Thank you all for joining. This is so deep, such a deep dive.
Gracias por venir. Esta ha sido una profunda inmersión.
I want to see all the troops if you turn on your, oh my God, we're going deep, you guys. This is advanced yogi stuff.
Sí, esta es una charla avanzada, chicos.
You know, because I'm so used to now looking at that desire energy.
Sí, porque estamos tan acostumbrados a esta energía del deseo.
And how much relief, I mean, just pure relief when, when that decision to deny is taken back.
Bueno, y hay tanto alivio cuando tomamos esta decisión, dejamos de querer esto.
But again, I said it with Renee, and Fran said it again, you take it one miracle at a time.
Y lo dijo René y con Fran, se requiere tomar un milagro a la vez.
What's next, Jesus?
¿Cuál es el siguiente, Jesús?
Oh my gosh, he's taking us out of hell, y'all. Come on, let's go.
Él nos está llevando, vayamos todos.
Thank you, Jesus.
Gracias, Jesús.
The
Thank you,
best.
Renee.
Yeah, we love you. We love you. Go for God.
Los amamos. Vamos por Dios.